Welcome to Careers Under Construction. I'm Justice Peterson. On this episode, we speak to Derek Kochenash, Dean of the Skilled Trades and Technologies at Red River College. Derek's career path is anything but linear. He started as a Red Seal sheet metal worker and eventually earned a master's degree in education before stepping into his current leadership role as the dean. We talk about why the trade shouldn't be a plan B or a fallback career, what it takes to inspire the next generation of builders. Please enjoy Derek Kochenash. Derek, thanks for coming on Careers Under Construction today. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm excited about the discussion that we're about to have, for sure.
Absolutely. So I want to rewind back to the start of your journey. You have an interesting background. Like, you're a Red Seal sheet metal worker. You also have a master's degree in education, and now you're the dean of Red River College, like the School of Skilled Trades and Technologies. Like, how does that full circle moment feel to you?
Wow, yeah, that's a great question. And so a couple things I'll say is certainly it didn't happen as a plan. I didn't even know what a dean was many years ago, and so I'm thankful to be able to have evolved throughout my life, and sort of really proud of that path I took. It wasn't a linear path. Came back and forth into education and out of education. Coming out of high school, like many people that are really involved in sports, my initial thought for my career was to be a phys ed teacher. I wanted to work with my body, but I've always had this passion for teaching and learning. And so again, made some different choices throughout life, and ended up pursuing trade first. Sort of my father and several of my uncles were trades workers. And so I had some access to the trades through those relationships. And so I ended up working for about 15 years as a sheet metal worker. I worked for a commercial company. But I always had this kind of thought in the back of my mind around education, teaching, and learning. And so ended up getting back into school and pursuing a bachelor degree while starting a family and all of these things. And so again, not a linear path, but and then found my way into education and got my first job in 2006 at the college as an instructor, teaching math and science to all the different trades. And so landed my dream job at that point. I thought, here, I'm going to be an instructor for the rest of my life, and I'm going to retire happy as an instructor. And then, of course, I had some other skills that I had developed in the trades around leadership and management. And so I took on, some different opportunities that came up, and was supported through Red River College Polytech in pursuing the master's degree that you mentioned.
Right.
And completed that in 2014, and I was successful in becoming one of the deans at the college in 2017. And so that's kind of a little bit of the background there.
Amazing. So you even said yourself early on in your career, you didn't even know what a dean is or what it does, right? I think a lot of people still don't necessarily know what that is. Can you tell us like what a dean does day to day at the school?
Yeah. So at Red River College Polytech, there are 6 deans, and we're all responsible for different portfolios. So I'm responsible for the skilled trades and technology portfolio, and so I would be the most senior leader, responsible for about 70 different academic programs, certificates, diplomas, a degree program that we have in our school, and then a comprehensive apprenticeship portfolio that we have. And so I provide senior strategic management of that portfolio. Bring on new programming, help develop new types of training, look at recruiting leaders and managers within the school. I work with a strong leadership team. I work with a couple of associate deans and a director, as well as a number of different academic chairs that are directly responsible for programming. So that's sort of some of the day-to-day responsibilities of a dean. And of course, one of my main responsibilities is connecting with industry and making sure that our programs are linked to their current needs and their future needs. So one of the things I'm always looking for is, what's coming up? Where are we going to be in 5 and 10 years? Advances in technology, technologies that are disrupting. Where are the careers going? Where are they going to be? As a sheet metal worker, I've certainly seen firsthand in my lifetime the incredible change. When I first started, I won't share the year that I started, but there was no smartphones. Communication was incredibly different. We used to use pagers and then walkie-talkies, and so now the advances in communication skills and what is available to employers, is so much different.
Right.
And so at the college, our programs need to respond to that. We need to ensure that we're teaching and making sure that our graduates have those skills to seamlessly move into the industry and actually become those leaders within the industry. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, people are gathering information so much quicker nowadays, right? It feels like things have changed so much more in the last 5 years than they did probably the last 20 combined. Now, earlier on in your career, you did your red seal and sheet metal work. I'm curious, what got you into the trades? And then what made you stay attached to it even after you left the field?
Yeah. So again, coming out of high school, my thoughts again my first thought was I wanted to be a gym teacher. And so
Right.
what actually got me into the trades again probably was the connection that I had through my family, with my father, my dad. I remember him waking me up early one morning at 6:30 in the morning and saying, if I'm going to work, you're going to work. And so at that point, I wasn't in post-secondary. I was kind of not doing a lot. I was playing hockey, and that was about it. And he's like, get in the car. You're not sitting around here doing nothing. And that's sort of when it was like, okay, I gotta make sure that I'm learning, earning, and doing that. And so I ended up working for my dad's company for a few years. And then I went on to work at it's actually one of my uncle's company, a company that my uncle worked for. So again, those connections were really important. It was something that not everybody has. Not everybody has those connections to get them in and have that first job or that first experience.
For sure.
And
And
so
was that what kept you in the sheet metal specifically, or
for sure.
Yeah?
Yeah. So my father and my uncles were all in the metal trade, and
Okay.
so that's where it got me that entry point. And then I ended up I think doing a pretty good job at it. I got lots of promotions in my time. I became, in about 15 years, I became from a delivery driver, delivering parts and to job sites. I became the outside supervisor of a number of different crews at a company, and that was kind of the highest level that I got to within the trade. So everything from making components to installing components, and then to organizing jobs and managing and supervising a number of different positions. That was kind of the work that I got to do.
Wow.
All along, I always reflected on what I enjoyed about working as a sheet metal worker. And so there was a number of things that I really enjoyed, but most of all, what I enjoyed was working as a team, working with others, sharing some of my knowledge and some of the skills that I had developed. And so that's, again, what really drew me back to education, was something that being able to share that, more broadly with students, and that kind of thing. And of course, I had a number of other friends that were in education, and so I saw some of their careers and what they were doing. And I'm not going to lie, that I saw them having the summers off, and so it was like, wow, that's maybe that's kind of a cool thing to do, right? And
Right,
so,
right.
and it turned out, obviously, the summer off is a nice benefit of being in education, but it certainly is not
Yeah.
not why I pursued education.
I'm
It is-
surprised your dad didn't make you work in the summers
Yeah.
when you became an instructor.
Yeah, I mean, by that time I was in my 30s. I already had children, and so his impact was not quite as strong as it was
Right,
earlier on. Yeah.
right, of course. So you were in the field managing multiple crews as a supervisor, and then moved into an instructor role. It probably felt like a pretty good natural next step. I mean, as a supervisor, you're mentoring other people anyway, so now it's time to do it from the field, and now switch to the classroom.
Yeah, so the transition from industry to the classroom was a pretty steep transition, and so even though you're absolutely right, there is some crossover transferable skills,
Mm,
as every journey person, part of their responsibility is then to share their knowledge and mentor apprentices within an apprenticeship system, and so some of that is certainly there, but education is a it's a dynamic career, and there's a lot more to it. Classroom management, dealing with individuals that have all different learning styles and learning types. I felt very fortunate that I was studying in a bachelor's of education program, and so I got to really have some experiences. I got to participate in a practicum where I got to learn some of these skills, and so that helped me with my transition to the classroom.
okay.
Speaking in front of a group of students, using your body as a tool to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
learning how to do board work. Like there's all a lot of layers to education. Assessments, again, something that's non-transfer. You don't assess your peers on the job sites, or you don't formally assess them, and so
Right.
you kind of have to learn all those things. But yeah, it certainly did help with that transition.
Yeah. What would you say has been your biggest challenge since taking on the role of dean from instructor?
Yeah. So I've had this question several times, and I would say that the biggest challenge is I would say that the amount of communication, and communicating broadly with multiple stakeholders, whether it's students, whether it's industry, whether it's our faculty, whether it's locally or nationally, whether it's to our senior leaders, the level of communication and the frequency of communication, the depth and breadth of communication
Mm,
is certainly something that's been really challenging. Um, Prioritizing your time, so making time for what is a lot of different things that are pulling on you, being able to delegate work, and to do that in a good way,
right.
certainly are some of the challenges that I would say I've faced in moving from an instructor into management positions at the college.
Yeah. So going from an instructor to a dean, did you ever get the feel like almost like imposter syndrome, like, do I deserve to be in this position? Am I meant to be here? Something like that?
Yeah, imposter syndrome. I've had that throughout my life, and I know I don't think I'm alone in that. I think many people have that. I know in the trades portfolio as well, through my experiences. I know a lot of the work I do is recruiting potential staff, and so people, instructors, and so over the course of the last almost 20 years now. Um, a lot of people don't think that they can be instructors.
Mm,
They don't feel that's that imposter syndrome. And I've had to do a lot of work around saying, you have all the knowledge, you have all the skills, you have all the experience. You can absolutely come and teach, whether it's plumbing or carpentry or aviation. You're exactly what we need here at the college, right? And so I know others have struggled with it, and myself, I also definitely struggle with it. Especially early on in taking on the dean role. Yeah, like a sheet metal worker,
right.
overseeing 70 programs in, multiple sectors: construction, transportation, manufacturing, aviation. Yeah, I was for sure. I've questioned, am I the right person to do this?
Yeah.
Isn't there someone I don't know all these things? And so yeah, I definitely struggle and continue to struggle with it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can resonate with that because, and again, like you had brought up earlier, I think there are many leaders out there that face that, but they do it quietly, right? And imposter syndrome isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing. It kind of means you're doing something new that's out of your comfort zone. It's uncomfortable, and I think like if you're going to be the best version of yourself, you have to do things that are uncomfortable and you have to face them. If you're constantly doing things that are comfortable, you're never, ever, ever going to reach that full potential because you're not pushing yourself, right? I've experienced it many times throughout my career, starting my own business, starting a podcast, for example. Like, do I deserve to be sitting across the room from the dean of Red River College? But at the end of the day, it's about trying new things and surrounding yourself with people that kind of support you or are a bit more positive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious now. I want to talk to you about like the trades a little bit because the trades particularly have had a bit of a negative stigma around them in terms of like that being plan A in a career path. A lot of people now, and myself, I did it when I was younger too, but kind of looked down on the trades, and I went to university instead, right? Can you tell us a little bit about like what your perspective is on why people should choose the trades as plan A rather than plan B?
Yeah. So first and foremost, 100%. I grew up in my life where trades were always a second choice. Counselors within our education system, if you did well in high school math, they were pushing you towards a university pathway, and you were too smart for the trades. Was kind of the messaging that has been given for decades,
Mm,
and continues to be given. We're not we certainly haven't moved enough in that direction as creating awareness around the differences between trades occupations and other occupations. So one of the things that someone asked me early on in my career, because I'm someone that has a red seal, and so I had a career in the trades, and I also have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, so some university education as well. And so I've been asked this before, what was better, or what was harder, and when I get asked that question, my response is, those two types of education, you can't compare them. There's not one that's better, and there's not one that is more difficult. They are different, right? It's like being asked, if you like steak or if you like sushi,
right.
right? Some people, yeah, a university education is a much better path for them. The occupation that they're interested in, or that they're suited for, or that they have that intent on pursuing, is the university pathway. But for many, the trades offer an equally good opportunity, opportunities to do things that you would love, to be able to work with your hands, and with your body and with your mind. I think one of the biggest things is that uh, there's a misunderstanding of the level of what goes into working in the trades. And
Yeah.
so the critical thinking skills, the analytical skills, the math and science skills, the communication skills that are required in the trades, is on par with any other occupation and any other
Oh, absolutely.
pathway. And so I think that's one of the messages that I continue to try to give, is that people have underestimated
Yeah.
the level of ability that a journey person has. They have a level of ability to look at a spatial situation, and understand it, where most people would not have that ability.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, absolutely. You said something interesting that like you can't compare university to the trades. They're different. But surely we need to understand like there's one they're not better, but there's one that's maybe better for you as a person. How do we find out like earlier on in life which path is better for people? The reason I ask is like I went to university. I found out pretty quickly that university wasn't for me. I finished it out anyway, but could I rewind the situation and do it all over again? I would for sure go into the trades and probably carpentry. That's me. But I didn't figure that out till too late in life. I shouldn't say too late, but like I found a different path that didn't end up using my degree, right? So how can we get like downstream, talk to maybe kids that are in high school that haven't, mom and dad haven't told them yet that like, university is the way to do it, right? And show them that, maybe the trades is not just plan B, but the smartest plan A.
yeah, for sure. So that's one of the that's part of the work that I do every day. I was fortunate enough, in my master's, to sort of focus a little bit on career development theory. And so career development theory, in the research that I did, really talks a little bit about how people choose careers.
Mm.
And so, and the research shows that people choose careers in a pretty simple way. they look at a career and they either say, yeah, I could maybe do that, or, oh no, that's not something for me. And so they eliminate career options throughout their early stages in their life. And so there's some evidence that as early as grade 5 or at kindergarten, 5, 6 years old, through early school and then through middle school and then in high school. By the time you get to high school, many people have eliminated many different career options, and oftentimes it's not for the right reasons. It's based on their parental influence or a friend or their teacher or guidance counselor or what they saw in the movies. All of those things have a huge impact on what careers are available to people. So the work we're doing at Red River College Polytech is we're certainly trying to reach people as young as we can, and we're trying to change that message. That message that you mentioned is that trades is a viable option for all. Whether it doesn't matter if you get high marks in English and math. It doesn't matter, what your other ability is. It really should be about your interest and your aptitude, and you should look at the careers and be able to explore those and think about being able to work in those professions. And so in the trades, do you like working? Do you like working with others? So there's not very many trades that you work alone. Do you like having opportunities to work and to have your work change often, right? And so most of the trades offer different types of projects. Your work is always changing. Do you enjoy working with your hands? Do you enjoy working outside? Do you enjoy being able to finish a project and start another project? Like, all of these things are sort of integrated into what would drive someone to pursue the trades. Of course, there's other tangibles. Do you enjoy a good, high-paying a job? Right, that's another thing that I think people underestimate is the money that you can make in the trades. We've all seen that and seen people that are doing incredibly well in the trades, and then it supports themselves and their families. And so, really changing that mindset as to how people explore the trades. Of course, one thing that's really important to me is underrepresented groups within the trades. We all know the trades is very heavily male dominated in Canada right now. I think we're still at a number around 4 to 5% of all apprentices and journey people in this country are male, or sorry, 4 to 5% are female, with the remaining being male. So we're still way beyond where we'd like to be. And so sending out that message to those underrepresented groups to say they have a place in the trades, and having I know we have lots of employers that are doing a lot of work in that space. Women didn't have washrooms that they could use for many years. They didn't have gloves or hard hats that fit them for many years. And so there's a lot of work being done to ensure that females feel welcome and that they're supported in the trades. And so that's part of it for sure.
I want to come back to the underrepresented groups and the female representation shortly, but one thing you said earlier that was interesting to me is like just how lucrative these trades can be, right? Because I remember my first year of university, I was $25,000 in debt. One of my friends I went to college had a truck and was already earning, $25, $30 an hour. Like, how do we put that out there more so people can see that? Because the trades, like, it's not just lucrative, but it's job stability. I've also heard from many people that the trades are some of the most rewarding careers you can possibly be in, because you're building things with your hands. Like, there's tangible results at the end of the day. Job security, companies, there's always lots of work. There's just, so many pros to it, right? Like, are there any additional pros you can think of off the top of your head that I'm not mentioning here?
So I think you've hit most of the most common ones. So wages are certainly an important aspect of any career, any occupation. And so I know that you can go on the website. Wages are posted as far as as apprenticeable wages. So if you're an apprentice, you get a portion of a journey person's rate, and so that's available for public. And so, yes, the trades certainly pay well, and the employer. I think one of the pieces that's changing, that I've seen in my career in my lifetime, is the culture. And employers are really valuing their employees in a
Mm-hmm.
way that they maybe haven't in the past. And so I'll share a couple of experiences around health and safety. Health and safety has really had a transformational change. Companies are now, putting that front and center, and that really goes to showing how much they value their employee, right? They're concerned about their safety. They're concerned that they have the proper PPE. They're concerned that they have, the right things to do their job and go home safe every day. And so I think that's a big shift. I don't know that there was always that much attention to health and safety as there is today.
Right.
It's also, all of the tangibles that employers are stepping up and coming to the table on, supporting young families, in having young families. You know, back in the day when you started a young family, you didn't get a lot of time, didn't get a lot of time off. There wasn't the same types of benefits, and now employers are really stepping up and ensuring that they're providing those types of supports, for their employees. I think those are some of the intangibles that, I really am pleased to see that many companies are really stepping up forward and saying, the trades are a really great place to be, and we support our employees, we value our employees, and here's how.
Yeah.
We do that through, putting different things in place for you to be successful, succession planning. There's all sorts of opportunities for growth in our company. So I would say that might be some things in addition to all the good points that you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you said like you can literally see the wages, like for apprentices all the way up to journeymen, what their levels are. So people looking into a trade and say carpentry can map out exactly what they're going to earn throughout their career as they climb up the ladder from apprentice one to journeyman ticket. I think that's interesting because I feel like a lot of people that aren't in the trades or coming into university, they look at people that frame houses as less successful than people that sell them, right? Sure, maybe as a real estate agent I can make a lot of money. But what they don't see is like very few agents actually make these, $1 million in these Instagram reels and stuff. And there's a graveyard filled of failed agents. But if you get in the trades and you get a carpentry ticket, like what you're going to earn. And it's consistent and it makes you a very good career, very good living, and it's stability. And I think a lot of people choose careers or should be based on stability as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think your example is a good one. I think that applies to almost every occupation in every sector.
Mm.
And it's no different in the trades. If you work in the trades, there's a minimum salary that you're going to earn, but there's also almost an unlimited amount of salary that you can earn should you be, the best in your class, should you want to be an entrepreneur. There's all sorts of opportunities to leverage your skills. Much like in the example you gave around real estate, there's lots of real estate agents that, probably make a minimum salary. And then there are some that, certainly would do three times what others would do. And I think that's the same in the trades, is that there are those base level salaries that everyone would earn, but there's a potential for those to take on more work, and to elevate themselves and to earn, for sure, six-figure salaries,
Yeah.
and plus, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in my primary business in recruitment, we do a lot of work with field supervisors, superintendents, project managers, and when we're negotiating offers between the individual and the company, seeing some of these initial offers that come out to these people is honestly stunning. Some of them are 6, 7, maybe 10 years out of school. They've got their ticket, but they've built, say, a multifamily apartment building or a commercial building or an industrial building, something. And once they have an experience of doing one of them under their belt and companies trust them to do another, the sky's the limit in terms of compensation for these people. It's high salary, it's company truck, it's matching RSPs, it's full benefits, lots of vacation time. But most importantly, they always offer the opportunity to mentor the people below them. And so many people these days are changing jobs or getting into these careers because they want the opportunity to pass down their knowledge to others. And it sounds like that's something that obviously you've done throughout your career. You know, moving into an instructor role from a field supervisor now to the dean, like you've made a career on helping other people out. Has that like always been the case for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love coaching. I love all aspects of seeing others flourish, and helping people, really, get to where they want to go, and achieve as much as they can achieve. And so that's always been sort of key to my key to me as a person, and near to my heart. I certainly love seeing everyone succeed.
Yeah.
In helping people make decisions and choices. One of the most challenging things as a dean is when you have an employee that comes to you and says, will you be a reference? And so I want to apply for another job, whether it's within the college or outside of the college. And so I'm always supportive of anybody who's interested in taking on different types of work and looking to further, whether it's a promotion or not, or doing something different. It's not always easy, because it's like, oh no, then I'm going to have to do some work in replacing that person. But
Right.
you want to see them succeed, and you want to see them take on, and if they're interested in something different, it's not personal, and it's good for them, right? And so I'm always supportive of that, for sure.
Amazing. Earlier, you were talking about the underrepresentation in the trades from a standpoint of Indigenous representation and also female representation. What are some of like the most effective or like creative ways that Red River College is trying to impact that number?
Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of work in this space. First and foremost, it's one of three of our strategic pillars, and so we have a pillar at RSC Polytech that really is around equity, diversity, and inclusion, and Indigenous. Increasing Indigenous representation,
Mm.
retention, and success. It's one thing to have Indigenous people come to the college. It's the other thing to have them be successful in their programs, and then be successful in moving into industry. So a few things that we're doing at the college is we have pathway programs. We have some youth programming. So we offer some summer camps that would offer opportunities for some of these underrepresented groups, whether it's females or those that identify as females, whether it's Indigenous students, whether it's new Canadians. Some of those groups are definitely the most underrepresented within the trades portfolio.
Mm.
In many of those, they're shorter kind of camps. It's a 1 week camp where we bring in young people from those groups. They get some real immersive experiences. They get to use their hands. They get to use power tools. Sometimes it's a little scary, as we're putting power tools in, a 12-year-old's hands and letting them, but they just love it, right? And they get to leave there. I often get notes from parents saying, "Oh my goodness, my child or my son or daughter came home and they didn't stop talking about what they got to do. You let them operate this drill or this saw or whatever it was." And so those camps are really instrumental in creating those opportunities for those females. And then, of course, we're hoping that they're going to come back and further explore some of that passion that was created there. In our School of Indigenous Education, we've created some goals around increasing the number of students we have. We have provided some free applications for Indigenous people to remove some of those barriers. We've recently renewed our what we reference as an Intro to Trades program, and so it's a program that is really geared towards Indigenous students, and allowing, again, that space to try on a number of the different trades, to see what it's like to work in a shop, to see what it's like to use some of the tools, so that they can really better understand and then make a decision as to if that's something that they want to pursue. So those are some of the things that we're doing
Wow.
at Red River. Of course, on the other end, something that I'm really proud of is we also have some really comprehensive strategies around our employees. So the way that we recruit and hire, we're very intentional about making sure that our staff is representative of the Manitoba population, and so we've created some targets, and we've done a lot of real good work. I remember in 2006 when I started at Red River College Polytech in the trades portfolio. Um, there may have been one, maybe two females on staff as instructors.
Hmm.
Our current status is, our associate dean of our construction portfolio is a female. I have a number of chairs on my staff that are females. We have a lot of instructors in a variety of trades, and so we are really moving forward. And that's an important step because when our students see instructors, leaders, associate deans, that really opens the door for a lot of females, because it's like, oh, like females are welcome. Females can do this. Females can be successful.
Absolutely.
And so I'm really excited about that work that we've done in creating that space, and think it's going to be instrumental in helping us bridge that gap that's been there for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, bridging the gap and motivating the current students that are there to see what else, where they can rise to. That's great. Um, One of the things you mentioned about one of your most proudest achievements since being at the college was the Skilled Trades and Technology Center and the building of that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, what an honor I had. I had the opportunity to be a part of a large team back. I don't remember the year. Anyway, it was about 10 years ago, through a provincial government grant. Red River endeavored upon some new infrastructure, and so most of you will know that as you go down Route 90 and you see that the new building right on Route 90. That's our Skilled Trades and Technology Center.
Can't miss
And
it. It's a
you,
huge
you
building.
can't miss it. Yeah, it's 60,000 square feet. It's one of the most modern trades and technology buildings in the country, and so I just love the opportunity that I had to share my own experiences as an apprentice, as an instructor, as an administrator, in that entire process. And so I was able to provide some real detailed feedback about specifically about skilled trades education, and what that looks like. Everything from the size of the lockers, to facilities, to classroom spaces. Our trade students, they're asked to bring code books. They're asked to have hard hats. They're asked to have heavy steel-toed boots. And so we all know in education, the lockers that you normally get in a post-secondary are about 8 inches wide, and so none of that would fit for our students. And so we put in these larger lockers, and so that's just one example of a lot of the things that we were able to do with that building. And so yeah, we're super proud of that building. It's home to about 1,000 students annually. Carpentry, sheet metal, electrical, refrigeration, and then some of our manufacturing spaces, and our smart factory. And everyone that comes to that building is very impressed. The core of that building, again, going back to some of our earlier conversation around some of the stigma, we wanted a space that was open. And so if you have an opportunity to come down and see that building, you will be impressed by the amount of glass in the building. Every space is wide open, and that was intentional. It was meant to be able to create spaces where we could celebrate, and everyone could see what it takes to be a carpenter, what it takes to be an electrician, because we get to watch every day. We get to watch apprentices and students learning and demonstrating what they're going to do on the jobs. It certainly creates a space for those underrepresented groups, so that they don't feel that they're behind brick and mortar. It allows us to share. A level 1 apprentice can then also see what a level 4 apprentice is learning. So it's really created an environment that it's great for learning. Of course, we were able to equip it with some modern technology advances in the classrooms. Every classroom is equipped with Wi-Fi. There's electricity and power to each of the stations, so students can charge their laptops and
Hmm.
smartphones. When I took the trades, again, computers and smartphones were not part of trades education. They were not part of the trades.
Right.
Now, every one of our trades, the apprentices and journey people, are using technology, whether it's to troubleshoot on a job site, take pictures of pieces and communicate. And so they have to learn that. And so all of our trade students now are using computers. They're using their phones as part of that learning process, because they're going to be expected to do that on the job.
Yeah, it's amazing how much technology has advanced in construction. Construction is typically one of those industries that I feel like innovates a little slower than others potentially, but with the way that technology has been in construction, it's been great. iPads on job sites, drones doing land and site surveys for companies. It's great to see that that's being taken care of in the college as well. When you said smart factory, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, so one component of that building is a smart factory. And so a smart factory, it's part of our applied research portfolio, as well as our academic portfolio. The smart factory is really designed to help industry innovate and bring on new technologies. And so the smart factory was designed and developed after the Industry 4.0 concept, where in manufacturing, big data is important, right? And so the smart factory, if you have an opportunity to come, what you'll see a number of different robots that would be a part of a manufacturing process, whether that's moving materials around, whether that's picking and sorting materials, all of those different processes that might happen in a manufacturing facility. It also has state-of-the-art metal additive machines, composite additive machines, so 3D printing, has 5-axis CNC machinery in the space. And it's really there to work with industry and help them get to that next level of manufacturing, where they're going to be able to collect data on their manufacturing processes, and then streamline how they would manufacture and how they would bring goods to market. Our smart factory has an industrial network, so every single machine is always collecting data, and then we can use that data to make predictive maintenance. We can use that data to potentially look at a process and say, well, hang on a sec, we're actually moving material 20 feet further than we need to, which is creating a time log, and so we can really iterate and become much more efficient. And so,
Wow.
yeah, that's what that space is doing. And so it's a combination of applied research, and so we work with industry partners on particular problems that they're having, or if they want to integrate a new type of technology into their business, whether it's robotics or automation. That's a space that they can do that at very low cost, and with the help of our research technologists, and oftentimes with the help of our students.
That's amazing. I did not know that was in that center. Love to come take a look at that sometime.
Yeah.
Sounds like if anybody has the stigma that the trades are too dirty to do a career, and you just take them over to the new center there and show them how clean it can be.
Absolutely. I'm always open to touring anybody of that building. I'm very proud of that building, and so I've had the opportunity to provide many tours. And if anybody out there wants to come down, certainly reach out, and we'll make sure we find time to share that building with everyone. Yeah,
that's amazing. So what would you say to somebody who is maybe early on in their career, but they feel like the trades isn't ambitious enough for them?
Yeah, so interesting question. I would say again that if we think about all the different opportunities that there are in the trades, there's equal amount of opportunity, and so we all have to start somewhere. And so, but if your ambition is to, if you want to own your own business, if you want to become a manager, if you want to be a leader, all of those opportunities are present in the trades. Not everyone's interested in those types of positions, but certainly if you're ambitious, and if you want to own your own business, almost all of the business owners that I know locally have a background in the business that they own, and so many of them would have a trades background. and they've leveraged that education and experience as that platform for them to then understand the business, and get into business as well. So, yeah, I would say if to anybody that would like to explore, the trades opens up so many opportunities. If you, I'm an example of that. We have hundreds of instructors at Red River College as well that are examples of that. People that started off in the trades, and then use that education, and now they're in the education platform, and so there's a ton of opportunity out there for people that aren't necessarily looking at it as a 30-year career, and they want to explore other options. There's a ton of opportunity.
Amazing. Last question I have for you, Derek. If we could take a much younger version of Derek and have him look at where you are today, from sheet metal worker to instructor to dean, what do you think the younger version of Derek would say to you today?
Oh,
How
wow.
proud would he be?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and I've had this question previously, and so I don't know that I wouldn't change much. My path certainly wasn't linear. It certainly wasn't easy. Um, you know, as a full-time employee, as a journey person, with two young children, going back to school is a really difficult thing. And so, I quit a number of times, and then started again. And so, was that fun and easy? No, it wasn't. But it all sort of came together in the right way. And so I don't know that I would have changed anything. I don't know that pursuing it differently would have been beneficial. I've really enjoyed all the different times within my career, and I continue to have challenges every day, and continue to love being able to do what I do. So yeah, I don't know that I would change a lot. I think I would tell young folks, to explore all their options. Give it everything you got, in each of the situations.
Mm-hmm.
I know I got that lesson from my dad early on. It was
That sounds like fatherly advice.
yeah, it was kind of that, like work hard, play hard, all that kind of advice, and it was sage advice, right? Whatever you're going to do it 100%,
Right.
in that moment, right? And then go from there. And so, I also tell people trades is it's not a spectator sport. So if you want to be in the trades, you're going to have to, you got to earn it, and you have to do that work, and you can't be afraid. You can't just watch, right? It's not a spectator sport. And so, for those that have that ambition, that have that desire, there's so much opportunity, and you'll do amazing things.
Amazing. This has been great, man. I really appreciate it. Red River College couldn't have a better person steering the ship right now. Love what you're doing for the industry. You're a true advocate. And for anybody watching or listening to this episode, make sure to reach out to Derek if you have any questions about Red River College, the skilled trades of technology, or anything about the trades. He's obviously, as you can tell by this episode, very approachable and loves mentorship. Thanks for coming on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.